In 1984, Kenner introduced a new line of toys known as the Superpowers Collection. It was based on the long-running DC Comics and Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which had recently been retooled into Super Friends, the legendary Superpowers show. The Superpowers Collection included iconic Justice League heroes and villains, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Lex Luthor, the Joker, and Brainiac, all in Series 1. And today, we'll be taking a look at the first Superpowers figure I received as a child, Hawkman, here on KREED'S Collection. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of KREED'S Collection. Today we're checking out Hawkman from the 1984 Superpowers Collection by Kenner. Hawkman's secret identity is archaeologist Carter Hall, and he is the reincarnation of the ancient Egyptian prince, Khufu.
Bless you.
No, Khufu is his name. Both he and his spouse, Che-Ara, were murdered by the Egyptian priest Hath-Set because of a feud. The priest used a weapon made of an alien material called nth metal, and because of this, their souls did not go to the afterlife. Instead, Khufu and Che-Ara are reincarnated countless times in different eras and locations over the centuries. They always find each other only to be murdered again by the reincarnated Hath-Set. Finally, reborn as archaeologist Carter Hall, he regains his memories, crafts a gravity-defying belt and mace from nth metal, and becomes Hawkman. And now that we know a bit more about Hawkman, let's take a closer look. Out of all the figures in the Superpowers collection, I consider Hawkman one of the greatest by far. There is a stunning level of detail across the entire figure, and he doesn't just kind of look like Hawkman, he looks exactly like Hawkman. Notice the really intricate mold here on his wing helmet, his brow, all the way going down into the beak that's over his nose. And of course, his wings are stellar. Who's ever responsible for this sculpt? Bravo. The harness looks fantastic with the hawk symbol there in his chest. All the colors are very bright, and also the physique of the figure looks excellent. His right hand is molded open to hold his included mace, while his left hand is not. This is a popular trend with action figures to make it where only one hand can hold the weapon. I really don't understand that. I feel like both hands should be able to hold the weapon if you want. Hawkman's boots are a nice bright red with this yellow cross pattern on them. And even though I didn't understand that back in the day, I think I finally get now that it's supposed to represent bird feet, like these would be the 3 toes. So that's pretty interesting. As we come around to the back, you can once again see the gorgeous wings that Hawkman has. These things are the standout feature of the figure in my opinion, and once again I just want to point out how incredible the sculpt is on these. You can see each individual feather on the wings, and they're made out of a nice soft rubber, so they're pretty pliable and you don't really have to worry about them breaking. I'm sure you can see that between his shoulder blades there is the mechanism that allows for his action feature, and we're going to go ahead and look at that right now. All Superpowers collection figures have some sort of action feature. For Hawkman, it is wing flapping action. So you take his legs and squeeze them together, and there you go, flapping wings. While I'm usually not a fan of action features like this is actually probably the best one in the whole Superpowers line, and it looks really cool. You know, Hawkman's whole motif makes me think he'd be pretty popular with some of my other figures. Coming to you live, it's another episode of Hawk Talk, everyone's favorite show starring Hawk and Hawk. Thank you, and welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. My name's Hawk, and I'm Hawk. 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 All right, everybody, put your hands together for our first guest, Hawkman. Oh my God, I love that guy. Oh, here he comes, here he comes. Hey, everyone, thank you. Thank you very much, thank you. Hawks, Hawk, Hawk. Hawk, 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 Hawk. I love that show. Anyway, now we're going to look at Hawkman's articulation. Here at the hip, he has a 90-degree bend forward, and it can also go back about 45 degrees, so he can nearly do a split. He also has a bend at the knee, which is about 90 degrees as well, and that's a welcome point of articulation. Here at the shoulder, it can go up and around all the way if you wanted, except the wing does get in the way. And also his head can turn left. Oh, it's pretty stiff. There we go. And it can also turn right. And if you include his wings, then Hawkman has 9 total points of articulation and is actually quite posable for a character with an action feature. Not bad. Hawkman's included accessory is his nth metal mace, which as you can see has a nice Morning Star head on it, and the handle is actually pretty awesome. It's textured and looks really good. While I said he crafted this in the opening, I have to admit it depends on the version of Hawkman because there's like 4 origins. In some of them he brought this from his home planet, because yes, in some versions he's an alien from Thanagar. And I really didn't have time to cover all his different origins and the fact that they're all pretty radically different. But as you can see, the mace fits in his hand really well. It's actually really tight and hard to get in there, but you know what? There's no chance of him dropping it. Hawkman's copyright information is located on the inside of his right thigh. DC Comics, 1984. And here's a look at Hawkman's file card from the back of his box. It mentions his home planet of Thanagar, so I might have done the wrong origin. Oh well, if you'd like to read the card, pause now. And now for our He-Man size comparison. As you can see, Hawkman is almost as tall as He-Man, and that's because Hawkman is by far one of the tallest figures in the Superpowers collection. And that really shows when you see him here next to Hawk and Hawk. He absolutely dwarfs them. I've seen a lot of information that says the Superpowers collection is a 3 3/4 inch line, but it's more like a 4 to 5 inch line. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for Hawkman from the 1984 Superpowers Collection toy line by Kenner. I adore this figure. I always have, and I always will. But I have to admit, when I was researching his origin, I got a little annoyed at the fact that there were so many different ones and that they were so incredibly long-winded and difficult to summarize. I always knew him as an alien from the planet Thanagar, but apparently that's just one of many of his origins. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.